Hey there, Mama, and welcome back to Teach Your Littles at Home. I'm Lauren Brainerd, and I'm here to help you create simple, fun, and engaging learning experience for your little ones at home. Today, we're diving into a really important topic: 5 essential preschool skills that you should help your child master before they begin kindergarten. These 5 essential preschool skills are going to greatly benefit your child, whether you plan to continue your homeschool journey right from home or you plan to send them to a kindergarten classroom. So let's dive right in. Hey there, Mama. I'm Lauren Brainerd, and this is Teach Your Littles at Home. I'm so excited you have tuned in as I share fun and hands-on activities you can use right away to help you play and learn with your little ones. So let's dive right into today's episode so you can make more memories than you ever dreamed of. First up, we have fine motor skills. Now, if you've been listening to this show for any length of time, you've likely heard me talk about fine motor skills and just how important they are. But if you haven't, make sure to go back and listen to episode 11, where we dive into exactly what fine motor skills are. These are the small muscle movements in your child's hands and fingers that are crucial for writing, cutting with scissors, and all kinds of other kindergarten classroom activities. Developing these skills during the preschool years will set them up for success when it's time to hold a pencil or use scissors. So here's some fun activities you can try right from home. Give your child some strips of paper and cut some straight lines and some crooked lines on those papers. Give your child a pair of blunt tip scissors, the kind that where if they poke themselves, they won't get hurt, and have them just practice cutting on those lines on the piece of paper. If you're anything like me, then you probably have a giant stack of coloring books somewhere laying around in your house, so grab a coloring book, and as your child colors, encourage them to color within the lines. Now, if your child is a year old, 2 years old, they're going to be scribbling, and that is completely age appropriate. But as they're 4 or 5, getting closer to the kindergarten years, make sure that they're coloring within the lines. Give them tips on how to hold the crayons and how to stay focused on the task that they're doing and not getting distracted by other things on the page. Playing with Play-Doh is always a fine motor favorite. You can squeeze it, press it, pull it, push it down into little flat pancakes. Anything your child does while they're playing with Play-Doh with their hands is going to be great for building strength in those tiny little hands. You can also work on stringing beads or small buttons or pasta onto shoelaces, which is great for building control in their fingers as they're lining up that piece of pasta and trying to get the shoelace through it. All of these activities are so great for fine motor skills, but they're also a lot of fun for little hands as they're exploring with all the different tools. Next, let's talk about some basic literacy skills. It is so important for preschoolers to have some exposure to letters and sounds before they enter kindergarten. Now, keep in mind, learning the alphabet is a kindergarten standard, which means that they need to learn all 26 letters by the end of kindergarten. So don't feel like you have this huge pressure or weight on your shoulders to make sure they have completely mastered every letter and sound before they head out the door on the first day kindergarten. But the more practice and the more exposure they have, the better. So here's some ways you can help at home. You're going to want to focus on recognizing and naming the letters of the alphabet. So if you think of each letter as being a shape, the letter A is a symbol. It looks a certain way. And what we want is for our children to start recognizing that's the letter A, so that when they see it in print or when they see it on a sign or at the grocery store or in a puzzle or whatever they're doing, they'll recognize that letter A. We also want to introduce the sounds that the letters make. You can do this through songs, books. There's lots of phonics games for preschoolers, but the goal here is to just make it fun, and they should enjoy it along the way. If you want to grab even more alphabet practice activities, make sure to go back and listen to episode 13, which is all about teaching letters to toddlers and preschoolers. In that episode, I do break it down between toddlers and preschoolers because the activities we're going to be doing with each one is very different since their development is so different at those ages. And now we're moving right along to basic math skills, which is our third essential preschool skill we're going to be covering today. When I think about preschool math, I'm thinking about it on some of the most basic levels. We're working on their problem-solving abilities and helping them learn to think logically, but this is very much done through play and through lots of fun hands-on activities. For example, you can count objects around the house like toys or snacks. So if your child loves to play with cars, you could say something like, let's grab 10 cars and see which one can go the fastest across the floor. To your child, this is going to sound like a really fun game, but in reality, you just set up a learning activity to help your child learn how to count to 10. See how high they can count. Have them repeat after you, whatever stage they're at, but hearing the numbers counted aloud from 1 to 10 will help your child learn how to count. We also want to expose our children to what numbers look like. So just like they're learning what letters are and what they look like, let's do the same with numbers. So grab 10 note cards, and on the left side of each card, I want you to write a big number from 1 to 10. So on one card, you'll have the number 1. Then next to it, I want you to just draw a little circle. On the number 1 card, you'll have 1 circle. Then on the number 2 card, you're going to draw a big number 2. And then on the other side of the card, draw 2 circles. Repeat this all the way until the number 10. So you'll have the number 10 with 10 circles. Then give your child 10 very small objects and have them just start to match it to the circles on those cards. So for example, you could set out the number 4 and ask your child to give you 4 buttons and have them put the 4 buttons on each circle so that they have a concrete visual of, I have these 4 things in my hand, I set them on these 4 circles, and this is the number 4. You can also practice sorting objects by color, size, or shape. Work on sorting laundry or organizing toys will work perfectly for this, and it will help you get some house cleaning done along the way. To our little ones, math can feel like a game when we keep it very simple and fun. So if you want to learn lots of other simple and fun math activities for teaching colors and numbers, make sure to go back and listen to episode 14. And now we're going to talk about the social and emotional skills that our kids will need in order to thrive in a classroom setting. Kindergarten is a huge transition, and being able to navigate the relationships that they start to make with their friends and all of the really big emotions they feel as a child is just as important, if not more important, than their academic readiness. So you've probably heard the term kindergarten readiness. And if you hear this term, this is just referring to the skills that they need to be ready for kindergarten. Now, they can still be completely ready for kindergarten, even if they're still working on some of these skills. They're just meant as a guideline to give you a starting point to help work with your child. So when we talk about their social and emotional skills, here's how you can help. Now, of course, this category deserves a complete episode of its own, but I'm going to give you just 3 things to start working on now. Encourage your child to share and take turns during playtime. This will be huge when your child is playing in kindergarten and they want the toy that someone else has and they're not getting it. And if this isn't something they're used to, giving them opportunities to learn this will be really important. Number 2, give your children simple, multi-step directions. And what I mean by this is don't say, go get your jacket. Wait for them to put their jacket on, then tell them to go get their shoes. We want to start saying, go get your jacket and your shoes. Give them more steps to do and see how they handle it. As your kids learn to do 2 things, you can eventually even add in a third. Number 3, teach your child how to identify and express their emotions. It's so easy for us to see our child crying and rush to their rescue and just want to solve the problem for them. But instead, let's step back, take a moment, say something like, I see you're feeling upset. Can you tell me why? And wait for your child to express the problem they're having so that you can find a solution together. Building these skills early on helps your child to feel more confident and will really benefit them when they're in a social setting without you. And this leads us into what I feel is the most important thing we're going to talk about today. And I definitely saved the best for last. So let's dig into independence and self-help skills. These are everyday tasks that your child will need to be able to manage themselves in a classroom environment. Helping your child practice these skills at home is going to make their transition to school so much smoother. Now, if you're planning to homeschool, you might be sitting here thinking, oh, this won't apply to me because my child will still be home with me. But let me tell you, you will be so thankful if your child is more independent and can do more things at home because it will give you more time to get other things done. Now, I can say from experience that there is nothing harder as a parent than to see your child struggling to complete really simple tasks when you aren't there to help them. So often we get caught up in the busyness of life, and it is so much easier for us to just do the task for our child instead of giving them the opportunity to do things for themselves. So can you maybe think of a time where you were running out the door and your child's shoes weren't on, their jacket wasn't on, they didn't have their things, and you were already 10 minutes late? Naturally, we run and get their shoes, we get their jacket, we throw it on them, we zip it up, we put their shoes on. Instead of taking that extra minute to help them seal their bag, zip their own jacket, Velcro their shoes, Mama, all the tasks we're so quick to do for our children. And we often rush to their rescue at the first sign of them being frustrated or when we're in a hurry. So I will tell you, starting today, make it your mission to have your child do these things for themselves because it will build their independence, and this is so important for their development. Teach your child how to put on their own shoes, jackets, and backpacks. Practice their personal hygiene skills like washing their own hands, using the restroom independently, drying their hands, all the steps that we just so naturally do and often help our kids with. Take a step back, let them do it themselves. Because when our kid goes to kindergarten, there isn't going to be an adult helping them fasten the button on their pants when they finish using the restroom. Or when they're out on the playground, there's not usually someone there to ask if they use soap. So having these skills become second nature to them is so important while we're present and able to teach our kids before they're off to kindergarten. A few other quick things. Learning how to open containers and sealing zip-top bags will make lunchtime so much easier for them. Teaching your child how to fully dress themselves. Now, depending on where you live, this might include putting on a hat, putting on mittens, putting on a scarf, zipping up a snow coat, or you might live in a warmer climate like we do in California, and it's something as simple as a sweatshirt that needs a zip. Whatever it is, take the time now to teach your child how to do it because their kindergarten teacher will thank you when they haven't lost one of their mittens and it's time to go outside. The more your child practices these skills, the more confident they'll feel walking into that kindergarten classroom on the first day without you there to help guide them every step of the way. And there you have it, Mama. 5 essential preschool skills that you will want to help your child master before kindergarten. By focusing on fine motor skills, basic literacy and math, social and emotional development, and their independence, you're setting your child up for a confident and successful start to school. If you want to grab my free preschool bonus bundle, it includes lots of printable activities you can print and start using today to work on some of these skills. But remember, the goal is to make learning enjoyable and stress-free for our kids. These activities can be woven into our everyday routines to keep things fun and simple. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Teach Your Littles at Home. If you found this episode helpful, please remember to share it with a friend or to leave me a review. You can also connect with me on Instagram at The Primary Brain. I love getting DMs from friends and hearing about what you're doing with your kids at home. You can also check out my website, theprimarybrain.com, for lots of different blog posts filled with activities for toddlers and preschoolers. I'd love to hear how these tips are working for you and your little ones, so I hope you'll find a way to connect with me soon. Until next time, have fun playing and learning with your little ones at home. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Teach Your Littles at Home. I hope you are feeling so inspired to create a new activity to do right away with your little ones.
If you like listening to my mommy, will you please leave her a review?
Before you head off to plan the next activity, would you mind leaving me a quick review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you are listening from? This is the only way for me to know if you're finding my tips, activities, and advice helpful, and I get so excited reading each and every review. I hope this episode has left you feeling empowered to try something new with your kids this week. And if so, would you please hit the share button and share this episode with another one of your mama friends who also wants to create activities with her little ones. I can't wait to share even more fun activities with you on our next episode. Have a wonderful rest of your day playing and making memories with your little ones.